Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, brothers and sisters. Sitting here doing some work, and I'm thinking about some ideas and some things that you might want to hear and know about my life that could possibly be enlightening or educational. So I want to tell you a little bit about the way I was raised first before I get into this story. The way that I was raised was that anyone that didn't have this same skin tone was inferior, and that was just the the southern redneck way that I was taught. That our parents taught us that, and their parents before them taught them that, and their parents before them taught that, and it's very wrong. And so I'm going to get into the story about how I became colorblind. So I was a Southern Baptist missionary, and we would go to Central America and Guatemala, and we would teach, our Southern Baptist Christian values, and we would convert people. And I was doing for Christianity what I'm doing now for Islam, and inshallah, I hope that I continue doing that for the rest of my life, is spreading the word of Islam and teaching people and helping people to understand what we believe. So the work that we were doing that day, we were out in the middle of the jungle. We were feeding people. We were bringing medicine to them. We were building structures like churches and stuff like that. And I was invited by a gentleman. His name was Lorenzo. And he was really nice. He didn't speak a word of English, and at that time I spoke some Spanish enough to get along with everyone. So he told me, call him Tio, which Tio means uncle. So Tio Lorenzo, he told me, he says, look, he says, we have a break coming, and I want to invite you for lunch. And I said, okay. I said, that sounds good. Let's go for lunch. And so he goes over and he gets his bicycle, and he's pushing his bicycle. We're going down a dirt road in the middle of the jungle, and he stops his bicycle and he puts the kickstand down. He grabs his machete and he goes in the jungle and he chops a big bushel of bananas, and he straps them down on that bicycle. And we continue trekking through this trail in the jungle. And then down the trail, there's a little boy, and he's hollering, "Papa, Papa!" And the boy comes running up, and that's Tio Lorenzo's son. And he says, "Okay." He says, he hugs him and kisses him, and just like any father and son would do. And he sends him on down the path, and he said, "Go tell your mother that we're going to have company." And so we're already at the house. The house is close enough to where I can see the mother. And then the boy gets up there, "Mama, Mama," and so we get closer, and then the thing that she's sweeping is a dirt floor. She's sweeping, and she's just wanting the best for me, the best, best experience. And so they bring, it's the place where the dining table was. It was outside, and under a little shed, and they get those bananas and they start cutting those bananas, and that's what we were having for lunch. We were going to have bananas for lunch, and we just found them along the way. He had no plan. They just living day by day. And so at that point I started crying, and I realized that there is no difference between what's on the inside as what's on the outside. We're all the same on the inside, and our outsides are different, but we're all the same. We all want the same things. We want to give people the best that we can give them. We want to love. We want to be loved. We want to respect. We want to be respected. And that day, from then on, I never saw anyone as different or inferior or a different color. I saw as it's all the same. We're all human. And it was from me growing up, my mother, the values that my mother taught me of, you better tell me when someone's coming, or I'm going to beat the Lord out of you. And so that was the day that I became colorblind, and I never thought of anyone as a different race or a different color was different than me. So that brings us to the lesson that I want to talk about, is that you look at a slave that went on top of a mosque and called our call to prayer. Black as the night, and he was bought and sold, but yet our prophet raised him up and allowed him to call the prayer, the adhan. And I've always loved the story of Bilal, and it's one of my favorite stories. And I just want to, in closing this message, I want to tell you that we are all the same. We are all exactly at the same level. The only difference in us is our deen and our religion. And inshallah, that's the main thing that we're worried about, is we're worried about our deeds, and we're worried about our character, and we're worried about propagation of our religion and our books and the memorization, and that should be the only thing that matters, and that should be our status, that how great we are with our God and how great we are with others, not a color. Color is only superficial. It's only what you see on the outside. And in the end of times, when we go and we stand before our Maker to be judged, we're not going to be worried about color. We're going to be worried about our deeds.